So, hey guys, gonna wait a little bit for people to come in if somebody wants to come in, but what I want to talk to you about is the upcoming helper workshop that we're gonna have in March, and kind of what to expect in it. It's basically really anything from beginning helper work to advanced helpers. Anything from catches to teaching how to run blinds, bark and holds, all the obedience control, transition phases, of course, understanding the drives of the dogs, understanding the potential of a dog so it doesn't get pushed further than you should. A lot of times I see, like especially when you watch helpers catching dogs on long bites, in training and in competition, it frustrates me a lot when I see it, and I always wonder why this is like that. But especially when you see helpers that already are doing regional, national, international events, they have a very good confidence and they think because they're selected that they're doing something right. And of course helper work is not so easy, not always like that. One of the things that you're gonna learn during the seminar, the course, is, for example, when you catch a dog, like if you go after you watch the video, if you go on YouTube or Working Dog or whatever place you want to go and you check long bites or back transport bites, and you see a helper that does one of those things, like they will have the sleeve and they will do whatever they're doing, but right about here, 10 feet away or so, then you see them taking this huge step to one side. Typically it's always that side. The reason they will do that is so they can clear away, so they can catch the dog correctly. There is many problems with this. One is a lot of dogs that are very keen to attack directly. Prior to being airborne, they see that huge movement, of course they would want to cut off the helper. When a helper already is really trying that hard to force a dog to be caught this way, if they're not capable, or if the dog says, no, I'm not gonna go where you want me to go, I'm gonna come here, guess what happens? That would be a hard jam. That would be injury to both, most of the time. So, when you look at these big steps, that's something that basically is a helper trying to force the dog to go to a site that they feel comfortable catching the dog, right? And helper work, and especially the long catches, they're very much like how you would learn to play tennis, how you would learn to ski. There is left and there is right. And if you only do lefts, or if you only do rights, or the majority of your catches are on the one side, then the other side becomes very awkward and unnatural, so you end up forcing most dogs the side that you want to catch them, which is not the best thing to do. A dog should just be able to come and you allow the dog to go wherever they want to go. You need to have a confidence, and of course you need to have some coordination. But having said that, you absolutely don't need to be this superhuman athlete. You don't need to be even that physically strong. If you have the confidence and you have the coordination, the rest is really a technique of movement and deflection. The dog comes, catches, everything gets absorbed. Like we do this, I can have young kids do it. I have girls that do helper work, catch very strong, very fast dogs without having to do this kind of acrobatic moves. They are very dangerous. In fact, what we're gonna do during the workshop, when I'm teaching you those skills, we're not gonna even wear cleats. You're gonna have just like flat shoes, if not even barefoot. There is no reason not to be able to catch a dog on a wet grass barefoot without sliding and without doing all these acrobatic moves. Because as I said, if you feel comfortable, you have the confidence, and you have some sense of coordination. Once you learn the techniques how to catch dogs, there is nothing, it's actually a lot of fun to do. But yeah, that will be definitely one thing that we're gonna talk about quite a bit, and not just talk about, but I will show you how it's done. I wish that some of the really helpers that feel that they have good experience and that they've been catching dogs now for years, but they do want to get into the national events, or they're already doing national events, are, what is the word, humbled enough that they can come and learn some things. But that's as far as the catches. It's going to be a lot of fun. There is of course all different techniques about, you know, you can use pillows, you can use half sleeves, you can use the big sleeves, and ultimately a dog needs to learn how to go full speed on a long distance and not jump over barrels or any kind of barriers, but actually just pace himself or herself and make that move, not on a half sleeve that it's held here, but on the full arm. This is a very different skill. Then we're gonna talk about how genetically some dogs like to be airborne and some dogs don't. And we're gonna talk about techniques and what is the success rate of trying to change that. And do we really need to change that, you know? Other things that we're gonna be learning. We're gonna go, like I like to teach the dogs when they do protection, I like them to really do protection. There is no gimmicks. Although we're gonna go in great detail about all the tricks, how to teach a dog to look inside a blind for a toy or for food or whatever. How we can use a placemat for the hold and bark, to throw a toy instead of bite on the sleeve in the bark and hold. All those things I will explain to you how they are done, but what you're gonna learn is the actual straightforward training and teaching how to do those behaviors for the real purpose and real reason. There is not gonna be gimmicks or tricks. And when you eliminate the gimmicks and the tricks, the work becomes very clear, very simple, and very easy for the dog to understand what we want. So that's gonna be another super interesting stuff that we're gonna go over. Of course, I know we got some emails of people talking about, you know, not necessarily ever wanting to do helper work, how beneficial the course will be for them. So if you are doing protection sports, especially if you're doing IGP, if you understand how protection work is done, what are the pros and cons of certain techniques, how to develop the bite, how to develop the confidence, how to work with the secondary control of the dog, all those things, the more you know, the more you understand what you need to do with your dog, and not just blindly listen to any helper that you go to work your dog. You actually will be able to design your own protection program for yourself and your dog, so when you go somewhere, you will be able to move on forward, right? So this is a really big deal, and I highly recommend this for any trainer, not necessarily being a helper. Although you're gonna start to realize that doing helper work is not, again, it's not for super athletes. Even if you are not in protection sports, let's say you're training pet dogs, you know, teaching dogs to bite, teaching the dogs to get aggressive, teaching the dogs to feel comfortable doing that is a must to understand if you're trying to solve aggression problems, because you get an all-around education and understanding how to deal with dogs that are, you know, trying to bite random people or being dominant with somebody in their house and so on. So for pet trainers also, this course can be very beneficial. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's 5 days. If you have any questions, check with us, email us, send private messages, whatever you want to do. You can be bringing your dogs, but we can tell you all these details as far as how the whole structure is going to work. This is going to take a long time for me to be explaining this. I just wanted to jump in real quick and give you some ideas what to expect. As of now, we have plenty of entries for the workshop, which is exciting. But if you still want to come, I'm sure we can make it. I don't know how big we can make it, but I'm sure that we can expand. Like right now, I'm thinking that maybe I'm trying to advertise something that we cannot accept that many people in. So that's another thing. As I said, like, you can be watching. You don't necessarily need to put a sleeve or fight with dogs, and you can learn about how to get control. You can learn about how to build confidence in a dog. You're gonna learn everything without actually being active participant, but just observing. And as you observe, of course, you have opportunity to ask all the questions as well. And if you really want to give it a try, you can. There is an age limit. Like you gotta be at least 16 years old, and you gotta have some permission from your parents to do that. We don't necessarily encourage that, but as far as, being physically not strong, having some disability, all this is manageable, and there is ways how to do this. Once again, I want to tell you that helper work is not about being a superhuman. It's about understanding dogs' psychology, understanding exercises, learning, and some technique of movement. That's really what it's about. So have a great day, and I'll see you guys at the helper course.